On the news tonight, Governor Soludo inaugurates Anambra State Basic Education Board. Anambra State government reassures persons affected by flood disaster of government intervention. President Buhari decries level of corruption in education system. And from the foreign scenes, United States approves more military support for Ukraine in war against Russia. Before the news in detail, here's a special message. Governor Chukwuma Soludo has come for a total turnaround maintenance of the Anambra State economy and promotion of core Igbo values. Let's give him maximum support for the task ahead. Good evening and welcome to the evening news. My name is Uchechukwu Ebonam. The governor of Anambra State, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, has emphasized that the future of any developing and progressive society depends largely on the quality of teachers and teaching system. Governor Soludo said this while inaugurating the members of the Anambra State Basic Education Board, ASUBEB, at the Governor's Lodge, Amobia. Government House correspondent Valentine Mbadoa has details.
First and foremost, you've all been selected.
Governor Soludo, while addressing the board members shortly after performing the function, expressed confidence that Anambra Basic Education will become more globally competitive, having fully selected the members to drive the system, while emphasizing that capacity, competence and integrity were the benchmark for choosing them. Governor Soludo thanks them on diligence in the discharge of their duties.
Much of your play will be in the realm of the public and mission public. That's the domain where you operate mostly. And that's where you have the good, the bad, the ugly. And the system is as strong as its weakest link. Particularly the public component. That's the weakest link in the chain. And this is what you've been called upon to come and help to remedy. We'll be calling on you with huge responsibilities. Huge responsibilities to entrusted on you to help us think in a disruptive but positive way.
The head of service, Barrister Theodora Igwebwe, in her remark, outlined the responsibility of the board and charged them to commence activities immediately to better the Anambra basic education.
Part of your duties is to manage public early child care centers, public primary schools, nomadic schools and public junior secondary schools. Recruitment, appointment, promotion and discipline of teaching and non-teaching staff. Posting and employment of staff, including interstate transfer. Disbursement of funds provided to it from federal, state, local government and other sources.
The chairman and chief executive officer of the board, Dr. Vera Nwadinobi, in her response promised to live up to expectations.
We are grateful. My promise is that we will not disappoint you. We will go out there and work with integrity.
The ASUBEB board, with Dr. Nwadinobi as chairman and chief executive officer, has Mrs. Ifeyinwa Anatune, Dr. Kana Ayotukura, Mrs. Theresa Azodo as full-time members. Other members of the board include Mrs. Ndidi Odebo, ex-officio, Anambra North, Mrs. Agnes Obi, ex-officio, Anambra South, Mrs. Agatha Ajora, ex-officio, Anambra Central, Mrs. Fidelia Abaizu, ex-officio, Ministry of Education, Comrade Mrs. Nonyechi Beze as representative of the NUT. Others are Mrs. Teresa Okoye for Women Group, Dame Chinyere Mbakwe for private school owners, Mrs. Uche Busi representing PTA, Dr. Uche Nezan for Non-Academic Staff Union, and Mrs. Ebele Mbwemena as the secretary. The Deputy Governor, Dr. Onyeka Chukwuibezim, Deputy Speaker, Anambra State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Pascal Abodike, the Chief of Staff to the Governor, Mr. Ernest Ezajui, among other state functionaries, attended the event.
The Deputy Governor of Anambra State, Dr. Onyeka Chukwuibezim, has assured that the Professor Chukwuma Soludo government is working hard to ensuring welfare of flood victims at various building centers across the state. Deputy Governor Ibezim said this while inspecting the level of flood disaster in Obaru local government area as well as situations at holding centers in the area and Onitsha. Government House correspondent Emmanuel Okonkwo reports.
The inspection exercise was to ascertain the condition of those affected by the flood and how the state government could accelerate efforts to ensure their well-being until the flood recedes. During the inspection visit, it was noticed that most buildings in the area, including the local government headquarters, schools, shops, churches, and residential houses, are already submerged by the flood as residents assess their houses with canoe. Speaking shortly after the exercise, Deputy Governor Bezin, while describing the administration of Professor Chukwuma Soludo as people-oriented, assured that the state government will continue to do the needful to ensure the comfort and safety of the people at the holding centers and asked those affected to be law-abiding throughout their stay in the centers. Dr. Bezim urged authorities in the holding center to ensure that the displaced persons are properly taken care of. In an interview, the State Commissioner for Health, Mr. Afamo Bidike, explained that the health needs of the people are well taken care of, disclosing that they are provided with drugs, healthcare givers, insecticide-treated nets, among other things.
We have actually assessed, we know their health needs are something that is similar to what we can see in the camp areas, and we have been able to provide them with mosquito net and some medications too. We have activated the clinics in some of the clinics, IDP clinics, camps, in order to ensure that we take care of their health-wise.
The Executive Secretary of Anambra State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA, Chief Paul Odenibo, disclosed that there are 1,600 displaced persons at the Obaro Holding Center and over 400 at Crowder Primary School, Onitsha Holding Center, and assured that the agency will continue to play its part in cushioning the effects of the disaster on the victims. Some of the displaced persons at the holding centers, including Mr. Emmanuel Onwade and Mrs. Christiana Ofili, thanked the state government for coming to their aid and providing for them since they came into the holding center, and appealed to the government to improve on the welfare packages at the centers.
Commissioner for Health, local government chairman, Mililu na banyi na ya fure banyi no ya kai ji ebi ebe aje no ke banyi chokunu mela anyi kita ani kunu le butela anyi ni kai na eyi.
From Crowder Primary School, Onitsha Holding Center, I am Emmanuel Okonkwo, reporting for ABS News.
The Speaker of the Anambra State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Uche Okafor, has assured persons displaced by flood disaster in Ayamelim local government area that Anambra State government will provide them with relief materials and basic health care to cushion the effects of the disaster on them. Right Honorable Okafor gave the assurance when he travelled by boat to visit the people affected by flood at the holding centres at Community Primary School in Bwakwo. Chukwemeka Modelim has details.
Sympathizing with hundreds of the displaced persons, the Speaker told them that he came for on-the-spot assessment of the damage caused by the natural disaster and the losses they incurred as a result of the ugly development for government intervention. Right Honorable Okafor urged them to remain safe at the camp as Anambra State and federal governments will supply all they need to be comfortable at the camp.
If a government Professor South Kuma to to make sure that the only Bundino and IDP camp that they take care of all of you. You are telling me why Bunayana Bronsubu, even if you didn't I have Bronsubu, even Yeri I have Bronsubu, I have Bronsubu, Arikunu, but our primary responsibility. We take Makunu, Budina Japo, I am making sure no one there Watagana Kuzili Viva, call Pekana. Eyota, we'll do our best. I'm an 100% God in Mambino on a begging.
In his remarks, one of the affected persons, Mr. Ezechukwu Chetoya, thanked the Speaker for coming to sympathize with them and lamented that they suffered heavy losses as the flood submerged their buildings, destroyed their property and washed away the crops on their farmlands, even as he urged government to provide them with alternative source of livelihood.
dị na-emesiche and ndị anyị rụrụ atụtarị ebele anyị na-ekpeburu nwere enwe na mmiri ma ọ bụrụ ma ọtọ ka anyị bụ pụtara bụrụ ọtọ na akwa bụrụ ọtọ na ego bụrụ ọtọ na nri nwezi ka nkenu ekene ikunu na-abụ ihe na-eme isi ike ka chiwu gbaa unu ume.
On his part, the leader of the displaced persons, Mr. Patrick Onye, assured the speaker of their safety and regretted that he lost his cassava and rice farms to the disaster but managed to harvest his yam. In his speech, the Transition Committee Chairman of Ayamelum Local Government Area, Chief Livinus Onyenwe, who took the speaker round the communities affected by the incident, commended the speaker for showing concern and urged other relevant agencies to come to their rescue. Later, the speaker and his team waded through the flood to visit other people affected by the disaster resettled at Central Primary School, Ifitogwari, and Otako Primary School, Omo, where he assured them of state government intervention. From Omo, Chukwuemeka Modelem, ABS News.
Hope has smiled on commuters plying Mkpor Umoji Road as Anambra State government commences intervention on inland doors access of Mkpor Umoji Road. The intervention work is being handled by the Anambra State Road Maintenance Agency, ARMA, under the State Ministry of Works. Correspondent Ngozi Ubleri tells us more.
Several strips of stone base have been tipped and leveled while the setting of drainage channels was going on as at the time of this report. More trips of stone base were also seen arriving at the site. In an interview, the officer in charge of ARMA, Engineer Azuke Guato, said Governor Chukwuma Soludo felt so sad when he got report of what people passed through on the road and directed that the road should be made passable with immediate effect, which was why they mobilized to the site even on Sunday. Engineer Eguato said that the road is 12 meter width, but they are targeting 8 meters on the failed portions for now, so that it can be motorable before they complete the whole width. He appealed to the road users to exercise patience since the road will be fixed in no distant time.
The motorists here have been hellish for them. It has been very terrible for them to drive through this place. So our solution, Governor gave a mandate that we should fix this place in the shortest possible time. And as you can see, today is Sunday and we are here. So we work Monday to Sunday to fix all the portions of the road in Anambra State, to give them a quick solution. At least motorists will stop suffering. Next week we're supposed to complete if there is no rain. But if it's like last week, it rained from Monday to Saturday, we will not achieve much.
Some of the road users, Messrs. Emmanuel Wankwo, Michael Chielu, who regretted the hardship they endure on the road, prayed for abundant blessings upon the governor and urged him not to relent as they are solidly behind him.
We got at the two sides. We can argue. And they go check out the side and I will take a chair. Okay. We just say they go check now. Who's at the fair? I think the governor in there. Therefore, when you're more madam, my Patangas or wherever. What happy another. What up, I could say there. So, I know.
I call Runa Maka, Otunsine, me again, Rayaka. I will transport us. Because all John maybe still in motor. You got to go. So I can run, seek a Oyankai Cob. Oh, it's a bomb matter. I quit the Raka now, got run his board. And on a mechanic here on a track.
From the federal scenes, President Muhammadu Buhari decried the level of corruption in the education system, stating that it was undermining investment in the university system. Buhari noted that due to declining resources, government cannot bear the cost of funding education alone. According to him, government and stakeholders in the educational sector are concerned about the manifestation of various forms of corruption in the education sector. He said government will continue to fund education within realistically available revenue and charge stakeholders, including the media, to equally advocate for transparency in the amount generated as internally generated revenue by educational institutions and how such funds are expended. Anambra State government has flagged off labor-intensive public workforce LIPW for Nnewi and Ekwulobia communities. The flag off was by the implementing agency, Anambra State Community and Social Development Agency of the Anambra State COVID-19 Action, Recovery and Economic Stimulus Program, ANCARES. Correspondent Chibuzo Obidike tells us more.
The program is an emergency operation designed to support budgeted program of expenditure and interventions at the state level, targeting existing and merging vulnerable and poor households, agricultural value chain, and micro and small enterprises affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, while the labor-intensive public works is intended to provide temporary employment opportunities to vulnerable populations through labor-intensive projects such as the development and maintenance of local infrastructure that do not require special skills. Addressing the workers, the Anambra State Commissioner for Economic Planning and Budget, Mrs. Chiamaka Anake, pointed out that the objective of the LIPW is to provide immediate employment opportunities in the social sector, address the emergency constraints of loss of labor income among poor and vulnerable households as a result of COVID-19. She revealed that the workers will be issued identity cards after enrollment into the program and be entitled to monthly stipends based on attendance and satisfactory performance of work assigned to them, as well as periodic life skill training to prepare them for productive life after the completion of the NCARES program. She concluded by revealing that the state government has decided to channel the COVID-19 Action, Recovery and Economic Stimulus Program into the environments in order to ensure all-round cleanliness in the major cities in the state, which will be supervised by the local government ASWAMA team before payment by the NCSDA.
Right from the foreign scenes, the United States is sending $625 million to Ukraine in additional weaponry, including high-mobility artillery rocket system launchers, in a move that Russia said risks escalating the war. U.S. President Joe Biden spoke to the Ukrainian counterpart Volodymyr Zelensky on Tuesday as Ukraine continues an offensive in the country's south and east to liberate areas occupied by Russia after its February 24 invasion. Zelensky has said his forces were making rapid and powerful gains and had retaken dozens of villages on the two battlefronts. Biden, who was joined in the call by Vice President Kamala Harris, stressed Washington's continued support for Kyiv. Biden pledged to continue supporting Ukraine as it defends itself from Russian aggression for as long as it takes, a statement from the White House said. The military package is the first since Russia announced it was formally annexing 4 occupied areas of Ukraine following a series of hastily organized referendums that have been condemned as coercive and in breach of international law. And from the world of sports, Anthony Joshua's promoter Eddie Hearn has announced that the highly anticipated match-up between Tyson Fury and Joshua is off after a breakdown in negotiations. The matchroom promoter insists the matter is still open for discussions and the bout could be arranged at a future date, but suggested the fight is off as it stands. Hearn believes that Fury never really wanted the Joshua fight as he kept offering contracts to other fighters including Derek Chisora. Hearn was annoyed by Fury's deadlines and the insult is directed at his client. He even added that Fury has moved on to another, less appealing matchup. Before we go tonight, remember that you can follow news and program on ABS TV from any part of the world by liking our Facebook page at ABS Radio Television. Okay. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at ABS Television. Okay. Follow us on Instagram at ABS Radio TV. You can log on to our website at www.absradiotv.com. And now the main points that made the news again tonight. Governor Soludo has inaugurated Anambra State Basic Education Board. Anambra State government has reassured persons affected by flood disaster of government intervention. President Buhari has decried level of corruption in education system. And finally, we told you from the foreign scenes that the United States has approved more military support for Ukraine in war against Russia. Governor Chukwuma Soludo has come for a total turnaround maintenance of the Anambra State economy and promotion of core Igbo values. Let's give him maximum support for the task ahead. That's all on the news tonight. Thank you so much for staying with us. My name is Uchechukwu Ibanam. Good night.